everybody's been talking about Harley and their whole wokeism, and I haven't commented on it. So what the heck? I'll lend my voice. If you've ever worked for a company that forced employees to participate in this woke stuff, you know how it feels. It's just terrible. And these fake outside rating groups come up to give you a score on your diversity and inclusion efforts that bear no resemblance to what's actually good for your company. But people clamor. They don't want to be thought of not diverse and not welcoming. So they clamor for these fake grades from these groups, people who probably haven't accomplished much in their own life, but go around with a political agenda to accomplish what they can't accomplish through legislation or a positive influence. They do through intimidation and coercion. And I mean, these people that give the grades. One of the things that bothers me is there's always this preface comment when people talk about this. The supporters of this stuff say, well, it goes without saying that a diverse workforce is better than one that's not. It goes without saying it's to everyone's advantage to have a diverse workforce. Now, where's the evidence for that? It's just something they're saying, and you're not expected to disagree with it, right? And I don't know that there's evidence for that. When you look at NBA teams, they don't always look so diverse, do they? And yet they're incredibly successful. And what is, whenever you bring up sports, you kind of get the eye rolls. But in sports, we know it's based on merit. You make it onto the team and stay on the team based on merit, skill, and talent. Otherwise, I would be playing center for the Los Angeles Lakers because I just really want to, and I think I'm owed it, right? But in corporate America, you're not supposed to talk like that. They want you to talk about things you can't specifically measure, or hide behind slogans like, well, it goes without saying a diverse workforce is better than one that's not. Now, Harley is no exception. They've been taken over by a woke CEO that really has no interest in motorcycling. Now, the other thing that happens, one of the things, I saw a sign at someone's desk where I used to work that said, saying we will hire the best candidate is just secret racism. Now, what must that say? And this was a white liberal woman. What does that say about what you think of minorities that you hold that view? I mean, good Lord. When you smugly decide to staple that sign up at your cube that we're going to hire the best candidate is coded racism, what does that say about you? But these are the people that want to cast judgment on the rest of us. Personally, I've hired men, women, minorities, homosexual. I don't care. If you're a great worker, man, I want you on the team. But see, the problem is what has happened in corporate America now is you've had probably 2 generations at least that have gone through liberal universities that have been brainwashed. They've not been taught to think. They have been brainwashed and indoctrinated. And now they come into the corporate world and they're used to, or they think that their views are superior and that everyone else is out of touch. And they demand that you build committees where they can implement their political beliefs into the workforce. And that's exactly what has happened to Harley. And these folks don't go away. They're always at it. They're not there to help build the business. They're there to indoctrinate other people. And what has happened is tolerance is not enough. Because if that was enough, I can tell you, I don't care what you do in your private time. I don't care who you are. If you're a great employee, be on the team. But it's moved beyond tolerance to you must be an advocate and a champion, and even if it violates your own religious beliefs, these folks hold that your religious beliefs are just 100% homophobic and racist anyway, and you deserve to die and be fired. Anytime they disagree with you, they want you fired. They want you gone. The other side doesn't like that. This whole thing about, I'm not a huge NFL fan, but, you know, my kids are, and we watch it a little bit. And, you know, this whole thing with Taylor Swift and the wife of that quarterback, Mahomes. You know, she comes out as a Trump supporter, I guess. And what happened? Will Taylor sit with her anymore? How can Taylor be friends with what is this? What is up with that? How is she going to handle? Well, it really says something about your maturity level that because somebody supports a different political candidate, you do what? You're not going to sit with them anymore in a football game? Well, yeah, that's what's happened. It's just absolutely pathetic. And Harley, you know, I don't buy that these companies are just getting rid of this stuff. The major institutional firms like BlackRock are using their power and influence to push their liberal DEI views on the world, whether we like it or not. And hey, thank goodness this one activist, whoever he is, Starbuck or whatever his name is, has for some reason his message has resonated to bring some of these companies to publicly disavow the stuff. I believe, you know, in I think it was Chief Justice John Roberts in one of his opinions said, you know, the best way to not discriminate is to not discriminate. It's not, well, we're going to favor one group over another. They can say all they want that we don't have quotas. They absolutely do. I can tell you, they may not use the word, but there are people in corporate America whose bonuses and compensation are based on how many more minorities did you hire in the last year, last quarter. And it doesn't matter if they were the best candidate. In fact, it's not even talked about. You will have candidates forced upon you who clearly aren't ready for the job, all in the name of adding a number to a spreadsheet. So all of that said, I mean, all of this is relevant because it's not just Harley. Every brand you interact with has likely, especially if they're in big corporate America, has likely been infected with this stuff. And even though Harley may publicly disavow it, they're not going to just go away. It's like their religion. You're not just going to give up your religion. And it's become an industry. All these DEI advocates and figureheads allows companies to say they're trying. And you know what happens? Instead of doing the day-to-day work, instead of Harley building a better motorcycle, they got employees sitting around listening to the challenges of the gay Olympic swimmer. Do they ever have a speaker talk about the challenge of being a Christian in a Muslim country? No. You don't see that sort of diversity and tolerance discussed. So, to me, Harley is just yet another great American company that is reaping what it's sowing when it brings in the CEO they did. And I'm sure within all of Harley, just like every other company, they've got younger people who have come out of liberal universities who have been conditioned on universities, campuses, that their opinion is so important and it must be protected that you have the right to protest all you like without any penalty. And then they come into the workforce and we're looking for people to work, and they come there to be activists. I tell you, it is a mess. And I speak with experience on the topic. So anyhow, with Harley, you know, I've never owned a Harley. I've only been riding a few years, and I always thought I was going to buy a Harley Fat Boy, and I just ended up on an Indian because some research I did and people I was talking to, and I've now owned 3 Indians. I still own the Super Chief and this one. Hey, I love the looks of the Harley. One day maybe I'll get a Harley to add too, but if you think boycotting, you know, boycotting doesn't seem to work, right? Negative publicity seems to have more impact than just the boycott. And boy, they got negative publicity in spades, but they're not the only company. If you abandoned all the companies that really are living this woke crap inside the halls there, you wouldn't know where to buy any products because it's everywhere. You just haven't heard about it. But the best thing we can all do is inform ourselves and, you know, spend your economic dollars the way you want, but it's tough to avoid this. You have to defeat it and push back on it constantly. I think that these corporate leaders are such cowards many times, and especially in the human resources chair, if you're trying to make everyone happy, then you're constantly contorting yourselves. And the problem is that usually only one side of this argument is loud and boisterous, and HR directors think they're a majority, so they respond to these people trying to make them happy, and meanwhile the silent people that believe otherwise are coerced and forced to go to meetings they don't want to have conversations they don't want to, because it's not about tolerance, it's about changing your way of thinking. And it takes a will of steel to stand up against it, especially if you're in corporate America and your paycheck and your future depends on it. You have a decision to make. Harley's no different in that regard. I assure you, inside the halls there's some intimidation, and it may be subtle, but if you're told your bonus and your promotion opportunity is based on all these factors that may actually have nothing to do with the success of your company, in fact may hinder it, what are you going to do? Most people fold. I hope, I remember when I was in college studying Harley back then, and you know, they'd gone through some tough time in the 80s. We did a little like case study on Harley. That's been a long time ago, but you know, I think the brand's going to survive because there's so many fans of the company that enjoy the product. They've done their little mea culpa. You know, I question the sincerity of it, but now the Harley guys don't seem to a lot of them don't, you know, brand loyal. They think everybody else is junk. You know, Indians owned by Polaris. AMF Bowling, I think, used to own Harley. We don't go around calling Harley a bowling ball company. It's just, you know, whatever. But I hope Harley stays around. Competition is a good thing, and for that reason, it's good to have more makers than less, in my opinion. And Harley's like an American icon brand, but when you let, you know, foreigners run it, and people who don't care about motorcycling but care about political agendas, is what you're going to get. All right, so that's my view, right or wrong on it. I'll see you on the road.